Knocks and praises greet Atiku-Wike meeting in London. And appeal court falls Ogun court's rejection of Show Me's suit. Well, this is Plus Politics, and I am Mary Anacom. The meeting between the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and the River State Governor Nyesom Wike in London on Thursday has stirred several reactions from citizens. While some welcomed the meeting, others faulted the politicians for meeting outside the country. Although details of the meeting have not been made public yet, it is not unrelated to the proposed reconciliation between the two and the resolution of crisis in the opposition party. Now, a former presidential aide, Reno Mokri, who welcomed the meeting, noted that the party was taking the right step. Also in attendance were Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State, Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo, amongst others. Mr. Wike had earlier met with former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, also in London. Well, it looks like a very interesting conversation here, and joining us is Opunabor Inko Tariah. He's a civil rights advocate and former aide to Governor Wike. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Tariah.
Good evening, Miriam, and good evening, Nigerians.
There's a lot of, pudding on our plates tonight, and I guess that we should best get to it. Most importantly, let's start with the fact that even though the party keeps talking about reconciliatory moves, there's been a lot of huffing and puffing from the corridors of Governor Wike before this London meeting. But let's talk about that before we go into the London meeting. First, it's Tinubu and Masari made mention of the fact that Governor Wike will be working for the APC. And of course, let's not forget that Governor Wike is a member of the PDP. Did this sit well with you, or did it sound like propaganda?
Well, the air is confused with the rumor of Wike working with Tinubu, and Wike has not come out to deny that. So, still in the realm of speculation. It's just a matter of conjecture. Most of these presidential aspirants and their followers have been meeting with Governor Wike either in Rivers State or in various parts of the country and outside the country. So we cannot for now ascertain the veracity or apocryphalness of that story, because the Wike himself or his aides have not come out to say yes or no. So it's still in the realm of conjecture for now. And I think Wike is really enjoying these rumors, trying to glory in them, because it also gives this impression of him being a beautiful bride that has been sought after by most politicians. So for now, there is no contradiction from quarters. Masari has said so. One other person also said so. But the Wike's quarters, there is no contradiction. Nobody has come out to refute, and since there is no rebuttal from the side, of course, it still remains in the realm of conjecture. But the truth about it is that you cannot just dismiss it, because if there was any form of, if it was a spurious thing, definitely Wike would have reacted, or would have asked one of his aides to react to that. But probably it might also not have any ounce of truth, but because it will also lend credence to his political clout, he might just decide to remain silent on that. So for now, nobody can come up to tell you this is the true position.
Well, we also have heard the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, saying that Governor Wike and every other person will work for the success of the PDP. I guess this was in a rebuttal of sorts to Masari and the likes, and those who have been propagating the gospel that he might just be working for the opposition. But then let's move on to other matters. Within the party, we see that there have been movements. I yesterday spoke with a member of the PDP who spoke about the fact that this is not a Wike issue, that the media has played it up in a way that it looks like Governor Wike versus the party, as opposed to, I quote him, the Southern caucus within the party that is aggrieved, and their grievances is not just against the party leadership, but also the flag bearer of the party.
I listened to the ebb and flow of that argument, but if we take the issues under advisement, Marianne, you will agree with me that it suffers from eclipse of reason and poverty of logic. The issue of rotation is not a constitutional matter. The issue of rotation has to do more of morals. I think more of morals, for want of a better word. But the truth is, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is from the South. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, after the demise of Yaradua, after the demise of Yaradua, Goodluck Jonathan stepped into his shoes to be the president. Now, if Jonathan had not contested, and Goodluck Jonathan was a member of the PDP, now if Jonathan had not contested in 2011, we would have said the issue of Jonathan taking over from Yaradua upon his demise was a constitutional matter and nothing else would have been done, nothing else would have happened. But Jonathan went ahead in 2011 to contest, and also went ahead in 2015 to contest, although he lost, or they said he lost, because I still believe that he actually won that election. But he considered anyway, so there is no controversy there. But Juba went ahead in 2015 to contest. Now, that simply means that Goodluck Jonathan, and in 2015, don't forget, he bought the form, contested and lost. If he had won, he would have exited in 2019. So you cannot say it is just the turn of the South. I mean, that is one thing, one argument that is high on the voices of the loyalists, those who are fighting this war, but with the silly grandiosity of their claim. Because if Goodluck Jonathan, if we are insisting that it was the turn of the South, you would have allowed Goodluck Jonathan to contest in 2011 for the North to continue. You would have also allowed it to contest in 2015 so that you just have a Northern candidate. That's all you would have just done. But Jonathan, by virtue of providence, became the president in 2011, contested. They would have allowed a Northerner to contest in 2011. They also contested in 2015. So if you say North-South, you can't appropriate and reprobate. If you say North-South, you shouldn't have allowed Jonathan to contest. So Jonathan, to a very large extent, filled in the space of the Southerners. And if it's now going back to the North, I don't see any problem with that. In all honesty, that is my point of view. That is my own position. You cannot say, what if Jonathan had won in 2015? Are you going to say after Jonathan, the South should continue? That would be unfair. And if you actually talk of the South, you should also go to the Southeast. If you are talking of equity, fairness, and justice, as your guest stressed yesterday, you should go to the Southeast and not the South. That is the truth about it. So if we have to come to equity, we must come with clean hands. And that's why I completely disagree with that argument. Because nobody from Rivers, nobody from Akwa Ibom, nobody from Bayelsa, nobody from Edo, nobody from Delta should contest if we talk of coming to the South and you're flanking that argument on equity, fairness, and justice. And if it is zoned to the South, then it should go to the Southeast. That is because when you talk of the South, only the Southeast is yet to produce a president. Then let it go to the Southeast.
But then buying into this argument, that could also be the reason why the Labour Party presidential candidate as at today made that move to leave the PDP, being that he read the writing on the wall that there was not going to be an opportunity for him to run on that ticket, also knowing that, just owing to what you've said, that it would have been the turn of the Southeast. But then politics is a game of numbers. Does the PDP in the Southeast could A Peter Obi have been able to pull the kind of numbers that he needed within the PDP if that were to be thrown in his direction? Because again, we're talking about numbers here.
Yeah, yes. If you talk of numerical strength, you see, even in America, which is the natal place of democracy, where they say it's a game of number, majoritarianism takes the day. But even at that, that issue of majoritarianism was palliated with the college system. Otherwise, smaller states in America won't be able to produce a president at all. And so that was why you had a college system. So now, if you say Peter Obi probably doesn't have the numerical strength, then it is incumbent on PDP to ensure that they give him all the backing. If, for example, the PDP governors in the South to back Peter Obi, definitely those in the Southeast would have backed Peter Obi. If they back Peter Obi, then he has the South. I mean, he has the South. That is the truth about it. That if you want to plank it on majoritarianism, and that was why Peter Obi, probably with the gift of clairvoyance, realized that it's going to be money politics and exited the PDP. So if you talk of a number, fine, very good, no problem. We agree. That is the beauty, is part of democracy. It is the beauty of democracy. But concessions are made. Politics is all about interest. It's a concentric circle. You know, it's all about articulated interest. So of conspiration and articulated interest. So you don't just talk of numerical strength. Otherwise, how did Jonathan emerge in 2011? Let us leave this when this man died in 2009 or 2010 or thereabouts, when Yaradua died. Let us leave that. How did he emerge in 2011? Jonathan is from one of the least populated states and village in the South. How did he emerge? Because the governors rallied around it and supported it. That is what the governors ought to have done again, if they actually wanted a Peter Obi. Look, let me tell you the truth. Now, people are saying it must come to the South. People are agitating, not necessarily in the interest of the South or the South per se. It is a personal fight. And they are using the issue of South, it's the turn of the South, it's just like a cover-up. They are trying to cover up their own personal interest with niceties and complexities, trying to deceive the outside world.
And when you talk about these personal interests,
it is not a South battle.
Who are these people? Who are these people you think? Who are these people you think are trying to propagate these personal interests within the party? Who are these people you think?
Sorry?
You're talking about the fact that this is all, shrouded in, personal interest. And I'm wondering, who are these people you think are pushing this narrative in the guise of, the Southern Coalition or the Southern Caucus? Who are these people you think are pushing this?
You all know that they were in London recently. You're talking of Wike and his supporters. We are talking of Tom and Co. We all know that. I mean, it's no secret. He contested. He wanted to get a bit of standard bearer of the party. So that is given. It's quite lucid. There's no secret about that. There's no secret. So, in fact, even before you asked the question, I know that you knew the answer. And even Nigerians that are watching today know the answer. We all know those who are scrambling for that office, who are scrambling to become standard bearers of the various political parties. So we know what we are talking about. So if you talk of the South, that is a specious reason. It's a reason being advanced to dilute. Because if you talk of the South, then let us, not even the Southwest, not even the South, because the South was represented in the person of Goodluck Jonathan. The Southwest has been represented in the person of Olusegun Obasanjo. Then it should come to the Southeast. If you are talking of equity, fairness, and justice, it should go to the Southeast. That is the truth about it.
But my guest yesterday also made a point. I wanted to talk about this so we can move away from it. My guest also talked about the fact that if the party was fair, they should not have allowed, if they were true to their word, they should not have allowed people from the other regions to throw their hat into the ring, being that there had been, quoting him, an agreement from the get-go that this was going to be zoned to the South. And so he's saying only Southerners should have been the ones who were vying for this position. And then, of course, may the best man win. But that, of course, again, we go back to the party. The party, in all of its wisdom, made it a free-for-all. Come on, come on.
Well, I'm yet to understand the reasonableness in that argument. Because at no point in time has a political party in this country said, no, people from other regions should not contest, or denied people from other regions from contesting. I am not cognizant of such a fact. Most times, even when these offices are zoned, people from other regions still contest. But what the party does is to give its support and weight behind a candidate, a preferred candidate from that region that it has been zoned to. Not that others excluded. You cannot exclude somebody because it is a fundamental right. It is a civil right. So you can't exclude it because that would be segregated. So what they do is they throw their weight behind the preferred candidate that is from the chosen zone. And that is what they do. Not to stop anybody from contesting. That would be very undemocratic.
Okay, let's move now to the presidential flag bearer. We see him going back and forth with the governor of Rivers State. We've seen him, try to do some damage control, and then we saw him fly to the UK that same weekend. With the pictures, on social media. The situation that the former vice president has found himself with the governor of Rivers State, and all of the things the shiftings that are happening within the party. What does this say for 2023 and his presidential bid? Because there are those who say that this is the last window for the likes of him, and of course the flag bearer for the opposition, the sitting party, which is the APC. If this is not properly handled, what could the future hold? I'm talking about 2023 here.
Well, a lot of people have argued that the chances are green. I disagree. If I want to be very honest with you, I disagree. What we see play out is an illicit intercourse between arrogance and power. That is exactly what is playing out. Now, I've always said that Buhari won without Rivers State. Jonathan lost with Rivers State. That obviates the need for any further proof that a particular state is central, is important, is instrumental to the electoral success of anybody. I don't think so. I completely disagree. You might lose Rivers State and win Lagos or win Kano or win any other state. The chances are there. Now, having said this, let us also not forget, yes, we agree. I mean, you conflict, like I always say, is a function of interaction. And because man cannot not communicate, man is prone to it. What matters is the resolution. And in the words of Martin Luther King, if they can, if this jangling discord can be transformed into a symphony of victory, he said, brother, with his arms now saying victory. All the best for the PDP, because a house united comes up with it becomes a formidable front, a formidable force. But that does not in any way mean that a particular state will determine the success of any presidential candidate. No. Because you don't know if it's going to take, let's leave Lagos out. You don't know if it's going to take Kano. That's the truth about it. And what if it takes Kano? Now, the likes of Atiku doesn't want to leave anything to chance. He's a politician. The more the merrier. The more, the better. So he doesn't want to leave anything to chance, and he's a politician. If I have a problem with you, Maria, and there is room for reconciliation, there is room for compromise, why do I have to shut you out? I'll exploit every avenue to ensure we get that reconciliation. It is when that reconciliation meets a brick wall that I'll say, well, at this point, there is nothing I can do. I have to go ahead. Whether Wike agrees or not, Atiku will go ahead with the election. That is the truth. And one thing I keep saying, he has the likes of Otom, he has the likes of, is it this other saying? this other governor that is with him. But remember what Otom said. Otom said that Atiku has emerged as the presidential candidate, and he has no choice. His hands are better. He has to support Atiku. I always tell people, I say, when you're going to war, a lot of persons are going to guard you on. A lot of persons are going to encourage you. Now, as you make the first move, you might have 100 persons behind you. By the time you get to the middle, you will have 50. By the time you get to the war front, you realize that you're standing alone. And that is the game of politics. It's all about interest. So he has to be circumspect. He has to be careful. Now, even if you talk of reaching an agreement with Atiku, that agreement could be cosmetic. That agreement might not be honored even after once Atiku wins. So, to me, even talking about an agreement makes no sense at all. Even if it is written, he's not bound by it legally. He's only bound by it morally. If you write an agreement to say you're going to make me a minister and I don't make you a minister, or you're going to make me a this and I don't make you a this, are you going to prosecute? The truth about it right now is that I don't want to say it's late, because as it is right now, at people's mind, he has a mindset, his mind is made up, which he has kept close to his chest, which he will never disclose to anybody. Probably what he has in mind is, well, let me stoop to conquer. Let me do all I can to win this race. Once I win this race, I will tell this man the kind of person I am. Don't forget the battle Atiku gave to Obasanjo, who was his principal and direct boss. He's a fighter. So this is not somebody, I think he went too far. He shouldn't have taken the battle to this length. Because right now, there is no amount of reconciliation that will make a man like Atiku forget what he has gone through and all the invective. I don't think so. There's no amount.
Okay.
Probably what he's just doing now is superficial. Let me just get through this stage. What the white man will say, you stoop to conquer.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, also the hobnobbing of former Governor Peter Obi and, of course, PDP members have been somewhat frowned upon. Many of his followers seem to have dashed hopes because of, what they would interpret in that photograph. But then, like you said, these are politicians, and of course they're trying to cover grounds for the elections. But what are your thoughts about former Governor being seen with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former Governor Donald Duke, former Governor Fayose, and several others in that photograph? Was it just a brunch date
First, let me condemn the meeting in the United States, in the United Kingdom. It's a shame that whenever our politicians want to meet, they fly out of the country. Please, I want you to tell me one leader that flew out of his own country to any other country to have political meetings. It's like people who, when they were growing up, never ever traveled, and this is an opportunity for them to travel. Why would you fly out? Why would you have your meetings in Nigeria? I can't comprehend the rationale behind that. Excuse me, that's one aspect. Number two, Peter Obi, I don't think his supporters should lose hope. Because what Peter Obi is doing is politics. Peter Obi is trying to poach. What he wants to do is get any aggrieved member on his side, especially those with electoral value. And that is what he is doing. He has not gone there to say, I am going to capitulate. I am going to surrender my presidential ticket to anybody, or I'm withdrawing from the race. No, that's not why he's there. Don't forget, Obasanjo is one of Peter Obi's strongest supporters. So what they are trying to do is exploit the schism in other political parties. That's what they are trying to do, to see how they can get these aggrieved members to support them. So what Peter Obi's presence in the United Kingdom is strategic, and it ought to be commended.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the time that we have. I want to say thank you. Opunabor Inko Tariah is a former aide to Governor Wike in River State, and he's a civil rights advocate. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the crisis rocking Ogun State PDP. Stay with us.